Today we're going to talk about the celebrity CEO formula, Nom de Valeur style. Nom de Valeur is French for name of value. It is the name of my personal branding consultation program where we grow celebrity CEOs. So you become found and famous for what you do. So today we're looking at the celebrity CEO formula, Nom de Valeur style, from social proof to stardom with substance. Now let me just tell you, I am on this journey. I'm not yet at stardom level. However, for those of you who are behind me in the process, then perhaps I can lead you. And that is the hope and the goal. I can take you where I have been, but I'm continuing to grow. So just for the sake of the record, my current following as at today, which is September 16th, 2025, I'm currently at over 50,000 on Facebook, and I'll admit, have been trying to grow that very much more because my relationship with Facebook, I'm not loving it as much as I used to. YouTube, I'm at 22,200 subscribers. Now remember, views and subscribers are very different. So on both platforms, I'm getting more views than I am of followers. But YouTube is at 22,200 subscribers. Instagram is about 18,000, and yeah, so, and then of course I'm on TV. Now those metrics are not visible, but I have thousands of channel installations. Channel installations are different from views because once someone has downloaded the channel to their TV, they may be watching every single show. So channel installs is kind of like subscribers. All right, so having said that, again, the topic for today is the celebrity CEO formula, Nom de Valeur style, from social proof to stardom with substance. Let's dive in. So answer this question for yourself. Do you really want 1 million followers, or do you want $1 million brand? Let me ask it again. Do you really want 1 million followers, or do you want $1 million brand? Now, think of your answer that you would have right at the start of this video, and then see how you would answer that same question again at the end after I have gone through what I'm about to share with you. So when we talk about 1 million followers, let's admit, big numbers look impressive and weak numbers really don't look impressive. And in fact, we sometimes tend to want to overlook the person with small numbers, the online numbers, I'll say, because especially if you don't know that person, there's no social proof. There's not enough evidence that others have validated them and what they have to say. And when you're making a quick decision, the idea that many others have validated that person helps you to quickly decide to go ahead and follow them. And guys, a side note, this is exactly why a lot of married men get poached on by other women, because for the onlooking woman, she has seen your man validated as husband material, and so it makes him a much sweeter target than the single man. Social validation is so important, and that's why large numbers appeal to us. We are, for the most part, we are like sheep, as the Bible says. We are like sheep. We're pretty much needing the herd, if you will, because there is safety in numbers. So when we look at a brand and we see that their numbers are very low, it is very easy for us to overlook them as being as having any value. They very well may have value, but in that quick split-second decision, when there are so many options of who to look at and who to follow and whose videos to watch, the one with the high engagement has already been validated. The one with the high views, I should say, has already been validated as worthy of your attention. So again, do you want 1 million followers? or do you want $1 million brand? Because those two things are not necessarily the same thing. So there is a foundation to this, because social proof really does matter. I kind of already hinted to it. Human psychology craves the social proof. We trust what others have already shown to trust. And there is academic research on this. A 2019 study by Tang, Chen, and Gillenson showed that almost 70% of Twitter, now X, users report that they purchase products marketed by the brand fan pages they follow. So if they're following the brand page, they are highly likely to purchase from that brand, which means you do want to have followers following your brand. And now brand pages, I don't want to go into a side conversation, because you can have a brand page that's a personal brand page. You can have a brand page that's a product brand page. You can have a brand page that is a company brand page. And very often I recommend you have all of the above, but you should focus on the personal brand page. Now, the translation of all of this social proof deal and the high numbers is social proof is for the Nom de Valeur program, for people who work directly with me, social proof is step one in authority building. Again, if you don't have the numbers, if you put up the most amazing post and it has 0 views and 0 followers, unless you have a raving fan, or a small group of followers who will click that first set of like buttons, the chance of you attracting people who don't know you, new eyeballs, are very, very low. In fact, the churches discovered that, and one of the strategies that they have done is when they make an altar call, people would really feel very conscious about being the first one to move up. So a lot of churches starting having their prayer warriors move forward, and in seeing the other people walk forward, it made it easier for those shy people who really wanted to understand the next step and to get prayer to walk forward. So I promise you guys, social proof matters, and it is step one in the Nom de Valeur program, where we build out celebrity CEOs. You want to be a celebrity CEO, not for the sake of vanity. I don't know if you can hear that, but where my office is, there's a train right outside. But anyway, you want to become a celebrity CEO, not out of vanity, guys. This is not an ego trip. This is out of visibility, because the more people you can serve, the more impact you can have. Ultimately, the more influence you will have, and that absolutely will translate over to your income. So remember the question, do you want 1 million followers? Or do you want $1 million brand? Those two are not necessarily the same thing. But step one is to build the social proof so you do not get overlooked for your expertise. Now, the sweet spot is what I want to talk about a little bit later, because as you build that social proof, you're going to get to potentially very high numbers. So we'll talk about the sweet spot in a little bit. Let me move on to my next point. So as you build your numbers, if you do reach to the 1 million followers, now right at this hot second, I don't remember the breakdown, but I will put it up on the screen in the final edit. So I'm going live right now, and this is a live version, but I will ultimately pull this video down and edit it with some screen overlays and all of that. So I'm grateful to those of you who are watching the live, but if you go back to my video feed, you will see the updated video, which will have some graphics overlaid on this. I'm not able to do that in a live feed. So as you build your numbers, let's say you do make it to 1 million. So how the social media influencer status is broken down is, if you're under 10,000 followers, you'd be a nano influencer. But then there are 4 tiers, and I honestly cannot remember them all. But nano, and then I think it's micro, and then macro, and then mega. I believe those are the names. So nano is under 10,000 followers. From 10,000 to 100,000 is 10,000. No, I'm going to change that. I think it's under 1,000 followers. Under 1,000 followers is nano. under 1,000 followers is nano. 1,000 to 10,000 followers is a micro influencer. 10,000 to 100,000 followers. Oh my gosh, I really think I'm off with these numbers. I apologize. But ultimately, right now, I think so for clarity, my brand currently has a follower reach, not counting TV, of over 127,000 followers. That actually makes me a macro follower, a macro influencer. I do know that. So, and then I think the one after that is, yeah, I'm in the middle, because then there's the one who has 1 million plus followers, and then there's one that you have, I think, over 5 million followers. There's a breakdown. I will put it there. It's an academically determined number. So I do know it, but it's not coming to me right at this hot second. The point is, as you build your followers, you may get to the 1 million plus status. We have many who have reached there. Many. And in fact, on YouTube gives you a button, the big play button, when you cross the 100,000, and then they give you another one when you cross the 1 million, and so forth. So there are ways to recognize these followers, and academically they have recognized them because they are studying the social media influencer academically now, because it's a relatively new field for study. So as you build that following and your follower numbers grow, you may start to reach those high numbers. But what the studies are showing is that the higher your numbers go, the engagement ratio tends to drop. So you will find that advertisers have shifted. In the beginning, they were going after the mega influencers, the people who had millions and millions of followers. But what they realized was the price point to engage those influencers was extremely expensive, and they did not necessarily get good engagement on their brand. So a lot of advertisers have peeled back now and are very much willing to even pay the nano influencer, because if you have the engagement, they will absolutely be willing to do brand deals with you. So don't worry about your number level. The numbers matter, but your engagement also matters as well. So this is taking me to that next point. You may reach the 1 million plus level, which puts you in the superstar effect. Okay, the superstar effect is an amazing place to be. This is the place that, like, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, and Kim Kardashian and all these guys, Elon Musk, they live in this space. Oh my gosh, my diabetes sensor is going off, so I'm going to go grab that and turn it off so it doesn't keep alarming. One moment. Okay, so I don't have diabetes, guys, but what it is I'm trying to avoid it. So I have gotten this sensor that tracks. Right now I'm at 72. My glucose is 72, so I'm doing okay today. Anyway, the point is, it's a biohack, because I have lost almost 40 pounds in the last year, and I'm still a big girl. But really what's driving me this time is not vanity, is not how I look, although I would look forward to losing the weight, right? But many people in my family have diabetes, and I've seen what it has done, and I've decided I don't want it. So I've been taking the steps to take care of that. And so this is a biohack. I do not have diabetes. I've never been diagnosed with it. I have been in pre-diabetic zones, but I've determined to delete or dilute it. So I've decided to do the biohack, but I'm so sorry that interrupted the conversation. That's why I'm going to pull the video and edit it to put in, to take out some of this stuff. But thank you for those of you who are watching me live. I do appreciate it. flaws and all, interruptions and all, I appreciate it. Okay, so let's get back. The superstar effect, like the Taylor Swift, the Elon Musk, the Beyonce and so forth, they get to a level that, yes, they are the mega stars. They really do not have that much direct engagement with all their millions of fans, okay? So you can get to the point where your numbers get so high that the numbers are huge and impressive, but like I said earlier, when it comes to the advertisers, they realize that trying to pay a brand at that status is going to be in the millions of dollars, and they don't necessarily get all the engagement. So it depends on your goal, right? Because you can, as you build your brand, find that you reach a level of virality and you start to become a brand with millions of followers. So do you want to have millions of followers, or do you want to have $1 million brand? I keep asking this question because it is something that we need to address and assess as we build our brand. And as I work with my CEOs and founders and experts to help them build their nom de valeur, their name of value, that comes out of Proverbs 22 verse 1, where a good name is better than riches. It's more valuable than riches. However, a good name usually will bring riches, guys. So let's just be real. But these guys get to this level where they absolutely are having millions of followers, but the engagement, I mean, millions of people go to the Taylor Swift concert, they'll never have a chance to speak with her or to see her in person. Like, the distance is so far, they may as well watch on a screen, right? So you can have millions of followers but have a disengagement with the followers. The followers, however, as you get to this point, may now that the superstar effect will kick in. And honestly, at this level, assuming that your goal is not to earn money from your influencer status, right? So you're not trying to earn money through advertising dollars. Like Taylor Swift is making money just selling her music, right? So is Beyonce. So they may get brand engagements and brand deals, but that is not their primary goal for their work. That's not their primary goal for building their following. They're just building their following. They're just doing what they do, and the followers are coming. And they're coming in millions and millions and millions of people. And that count is going to the superstar status. And that superstar effect begins to break rules. It begins to break rules because these fans no longer mind if they don't have direct interaction with their superstar. The disengagement does not become fatal to the brand. The fans at this level do not need replies. They just want to be in the space. This is why even if a Taylor Swift fan is way up in the top of the bleachers, they just want to be in this space. This superstar status breaks the rules where engagement is necessary for someone to follow you. At this point, you'll have the Swifties, right? The people who want to be a part of the culture of the brand. And so when you get to the superstar status, it begins to break the rules of engagement. They don't necessarily apply anymore. And at this stage, when you get to the superstar status, it creates almost like a mystique, an absolute scarcity. And this is where that sweet spot, I'm working towards that sweet spot that I'm talking about here. So the sweet spot, guys, researchers show, academic research shows that high follower count does create a disengagement. It absolutely does create a disengagement. But that disengagement at superstar status is not fatal to the brand. But it is fatal to the level of engagement. So here is the thing, is that as you scale the followers, your engagement drops. And a 2023 study by Weiss, Bleer, and Edeling found that higher follower counts imply the broader reach, but weakens the relationship with your fans, reducing the engagement. This is an academic study. So the sweet spot is especially for people, for advertisers who are going to pay an influencer, the sweet spot for that group is in the 10,000 to 100,000 strong. They still have they have a high count, but they still have a good measure of engagement if you're up to the 100,000 level. Now, if your goal is to be an influencer where you have the engagement, you haven't lost the engagement yet, and you're more likely to get brand deals as part of your income flow, this is a good place to be. But here is the thing. You don't want to discount the virality of your brand taking you to superstar status. So let's talk about that sweet spot. So the sweet spot is going to forgive me. The sweet spot is where I put my attention. And I'm not talking about the person whose income is coming from brand deals, okay? Because if you're a CEO, a founder, an expert, you are developing mastery in your space and you want to serve people in that domain of your expertise, which means brand deals are not, you're doing you, right? You're doing you. And this is the person that I love to work with. So I don't care about the person who's chasing vanity metrics. Vanity metrics may come because as you grow the brand and you move to superstar status, yeah, the vanity metrics are going to come. But if that's your goal and that's your focus, see, we're going to get the numbers because we are trying to grow that social proof. And you may get to that tipping point where you go crazy viral and your numbers skyrocket and bring it to superstar status. But that should be a result of your work, not the focus of your content creation. For those who want to work with me, the focus of your content creation, the focus of your effort, your work, all that you do should be to drive value to those you want to serve through the mastery of your expertise. If that leads to the superstar status and effect, fantastic. But if you're chasing those metrics so that you can get superstar status, I am not your girl. I am not your girl. So remember I said I'm on this journey. Right now, my numbers have tripped over where across all platforms. So I don't have that domination on one single platform. Now, there are people who have a strong 100,000 plus on a single platform. And I'm going to be honest, it's very challenging to build deep on more than one platform. You're going to get you can get be broad and not that deep versus some people who are driving deep on a single platform. Personally, I have chosen to have a presence on as many platforms as possible because at this stage of my brand, I am still trying to figure out where my audience is hanging out. So there's strategy in all of this. And once I saw that I was getting a lot of traction on YouTube, I disengaged my energy from Facebook, which I'd already driven up. In fact, I have more than that because I have several Facebook pages. One has over 50,000, one has over 17,000, one has 9,000, one has 14,000. So yes, but the point is I'm not loving Facebook as much. And while I was getting some traffic, I wasn't really getting, deals weren't closing. So it was very superficial. But on YouTube, it's a whole different game. On TV, it's a whole different game. And the video format really, really works. And even though videos are on YouTube, on Facebook, and some of you may even be watching me on Facebook, Facebook is so social. It's so social. People want to see the pictures of your babies and they want to see your wedding pictures on Facebook, even a bit on Instagram. Although people who are in that space have been really able to monetize the lifestyle space on Instagram. Facebook is an older crowd. You guys want to see the grandkids. Yeah, I get it. YouTube now is a little bit different. Anything that's video driven, people are coming for entertainment. But YouTube has become the go-to spot for a lot of how-to. And because people are coming to YouTube to learn stuff, there's now a YouTube Academy of sorts. So YouTube and TV are video-driven platforms, and people come to each social media, each platform for a different reason, and they consume the content in a different reason. I feel like I'm going off track, but bear with me. So here's the thing. If your numbers get you to superstar status and your engagement starts to drop, here is the strategy. The next strategy is the dual strategy. This strategy embraces prestige plus intimacy. How do we achieve that? So you have the high numbers, right? The social status, the millions of followers, great. But now the next move is to carve out a smaller, more exclusive group for the die-hard fans, the ones who are willing to put their money where their mouth is, okay? So you're going to now have, whether it's an inner circle, a mastermind, some exclusivity, a Patreon, some way that those who are not the freebie people, the people who want everything for free, the casual surfers, the people who will like your videos but won't buy your music, these are now carved out into a smaller, more intimate space. So you now will have that duality of the superstar status and the high engagement in this new level. So if you are following along, you will have seen that I've basically given you the Nom de Valeur process, the celebrity formula of building the one I am following for myself, the one that I teach. Because again, if you are behind me, I can bring you along to where I am, and I'm constantly growing. If you're ahead of me, maybe I'll be signing up for your course in the future, right? So I know my market, I know who I'm speaking to. It tends to be the 45 plus mastery, the person who's an expert at what they do or building mastery at what they do, but you don't have as much tech savvy. You don't have quite the digital footprint. You have mastery, but you're being overlooked because you're younger, subpar, less qualified competitor does have a handle on this whole internet space. And so all the search engines and the chat GPTs are offering them up as the mastery, as the expert. Why? Because there's so much on them that they can find. There's so much that the internet can pull about your less qualified competitor, simply because they've grown up with a tablet and a phone in their hands. Their name has been pinging in the digital waves for decades. You have one or two blurbs and blogs, and it's just not going to cut it, guys. And if you are waiting on referrals, handshake deals, word of mouth, you're going to be overlooked. You are not going to get to have the impact and the influence, which is also going to impact your income. And so this whole move is not about vanity. The visibility that I'm proposing, that celebrities work towards becoming the celebrity CEO in your space, right? When it comes to makeup, there are some people that have just made it to the top. Their names, these are the ones we're spending hundreds and thousands of dollars for to buy their stuff. Honestly, people are going to pay thousands for a Michael Kors purse or a Louis Vuitton travel bag or an Estee Lauder perfume because and these are names. These are people's names. They have built their brands over time, and they have built their brands to the point where they have got to become more and more expensive to weed out the mass buyers. Because when you get to that level, for you to serve at the highest level, sometimes you raise your price so that you can continue to serve at the highest level, but you have reduced the number of consumers, but you're still making the same money. So guys, listen, I'm not saying that you have to go to high ticket for everything. I'm just saying work towards becoming a celebrity CEO in your space. And I may be the consultant that you need, because not only have I I had one friend recently tell me, oh my gosh, I finally met my famous friend Trudy. Now, I don't consider myself famous, and honestly, where I am locally, I realize I've only just been recently building my local Tampa footprint. So that's to show you. So because I'm on TV and I was interviewing people from all over the world, my following is large. But when it comes to my actual footprint in Tampa, while that is growing, it pales in comparison. So, I'm also building the local footprint as well, so that you're well known. I intend to become well known, not just in my church and my school and my small organizations, but to become well known in my city, in my state, in my nation of maybe the US and even Jamaica where I'm from, and eventually globally. And at some level, I do have some global recognition because, like I said, a lot of my clients are from all over the world. When I interview guests, I have guests from Australia, I have guests from Dubai, I have guests from all over the world. And because PSI TV has a channel presence on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, and Vita TV, we have global exposure there. And of course, YouTube gives us also global exposure, and Facebook and all of that. So the goal is to build that visibility, build the visibility. And once my numbers keep tracking up and tracking up, who knows, one day I may hit that superstar status. But I intend to have a small space for the super fans. Okay, I already have an inner circle, and but I'm just saying at some point it will be bigger. And so that is the goal. And if that is something you're interested in, because guys, at the end of the day, you have an amazing message, you have a skill set, you have expertise, you have networks and resources that are valuable to others. Just yesterday I was talking with a gentleman who has created resources for other veterans who are considering suicide, because he survived the suicide experience, and his story is so powerful. His packaging was very weak, but his message and the service that he has to do is very important. I helped him reframe everything so he can put his message together in a more powerful way that will impact more people, serve more people, because what he has to share is so valuable, and I'd hate for it to be missed simply because he didn't understand how to market it. And that's where a lot of you are. So for some of you, I may just be the perfect consultant that you need to connect with. I can take you to where I am, and like I said, I'm continuing to grow. If you're ahead of me, then maybe you can let me know what you're doing, and maybe you might be the next coach that I sign up with. I do have one now, but that's not the point. The point is, I may be able to help you because I've walked the roads you've walked. I have been at zero. In fact, my YouTube channel, which is at 22,000 plus subscribers right as this moment, less than 3 years ago was at zero, guys. Less than 3 years ago was at zero. I only started to focus on YouTube about